What's up everyone, Honeybee here, bringing you a new Mortal Kombat 11 Spawn video. Huge shoutouts to Warner Brothers and NetherRealm for giving me early access this past weekend at the LCQ Final Combat event. I really appreciate being able to get some hands-on experience with Spawn, and what we're going to do in this video is we're just going to go over all three of Spawn's tournament variations. Since this is the first time I'm ever going to be playing Spawn, we're going to go right from the basics, and we're going to start by looking at just his basic attacks, take a look at some of his strings, take a look at his specials, and just really break down the character from start to finish. I'm not going to go too in depth on everything, but I'm going to try to take a look at mostly everything that Spawn has to offer. So as you can see here, stand 1, 7 frames. Quite strong. He also has like a down one that's 7 frames, and his back one is a 13 frame mid. He has forward 2, which is 16 frames, and also a mid, which is quite strong. So we can just take a quick look at all the frame data that this character has. Down 3, 8 frames, which is pretty strong, but the range isn't that great on it. His low sweep is pretty good. The range is really strong on it. And he also has an 11 frame low down 4. Range is okay. I'm not too sure how useful it's going to be, but one thing to note is that he does have a 9 frame up 2, which is really fast. I haven't really been able to check the hitbox on it or anything like that, but I'm gonna assume that it's pretty good, because 9 frames is a really fast when it comes to an up 2. Generally, the fastest that they can be, to my knowledge, right now is 8 frames ever since the latest patch. He also has a really interesting crushing blow off of his forward throw, but we'll show that later. And we can also take a look at some of his basic combo attacks. He does have an interesting string, which is 1-1-2 and 1-1 back 2. 1-1-2 is -8 on block, whereas 1-1 back 2 has a gap and it's +7 on block. So you can kind of mix people up with that. He has a bunch of other strings here that we'll try to cover the majority of them. Some of which are quite punishable on block. Not sure if you'd really want to use them, but some of them are definitely going to be very useful. And he also has a bunch of different special moves that we can check out as well. Alright, so here we can see his jab, standard 7 frame jab. It's pretty good. I need to change my buttons because I forgot to, so there we go. And anyone that wants to know what my buttons are like, there you go. Okay, so he has standard 7 frame jab, 7 frame down 1. That's his down 4. That's his down 3. He does have okay range. It's not the greatest to my knowledge, at least if I'm comparing it to some other characters. But you can see like the range is pretty standard. I think nothing too crazy. But his back 4, which is his low attack, you can see the range of that is pretty strong. It goes pretty far. So I think his sweep might end up being pretty useful, and you can see that it is pretty safe on block as well, something like -6 or something like that. This is the range of his back 1, I believe. Yeah, that's his back 1. So the back 1 is a 13 frame mid, goes pretty far, and he also has a forward 2, which is a 16 frame mid. So he has 2 different mids. He uses his cape to swing at his opponent. That's his down 2. You can see the hitbox seems to be pretty big. I didn't really get to test his anti-airs that much to see how good those are, but that's something that we can definitely look at later once the character is released. And this is a look at his 1-1-2 and 1-1 back 2 if you hold it. When I was trying to test it, I couldn't really see if you could change the amount of time that you're holding it, so it kind of seems like it's either going to be -8 if you just let it rock as 1-1-2, or it's going to be +7 if you hold it back. I don't think you can hold it back a little bit less to make it like 0 on block, for example. I don't really think you can do that. But that string looks like it's going to have some good use to it. This is his back 1-2 string, and that actually launches for the overhead. We'll show that later. This is his 2-4 string. He has a crushing blow attached to it, which we'll show off later as well. And yeah, we're just kind of looking over some of these strings. So now we're going to take a look at his stand 3. You can see that the stand 3-4. The stand 3 is actually quite fast. It's a 12 frame high, kind of similar to Devora's range of her forward 1. He also has a bunch of different special moves that we can take a look at. That's his down back 1. which he shoots his, he covers himself with his cape, and then he does like a spray of bullets that ends up being a low, and then he can amplify it to become a high. He also has the ability to delay this string, and on top of that, it's actually a parry, which we're going to look at a little bit later. So he can do a lot of stuff with this special move right here, down back 1 in this variation. This is only in his first variation, by the way. It's not going to be in his other ones. And yeah, so he can cancel it. It's a parry. It attacks, and he can amplify it as well. It also has a crushing blow attached to it, so that's going to be a very useful string, or special move, I should say. And you can see some of his throws there as well. He has like a short hop 1, short hop 2, or I mean short hop 3 as well. These are some of his jump attacks. Nothing too crazy. It just looks pretty standard to me. Alright, so now we're going to take a look at his back forward 2 special move, which is that. He can delay that, I believe, as well, and he can also cancel it. So he has quite a few special moves that he could actually cancel with a bar of meter. This is his back forward 3. That's going to be a really useful special move in this variation, because he can actually use that to close out, like, end a combo, but it's also going to be more useful off of pokes because it's a safe special. So you can do, for example, down 1 into back forward 3 amplify. It has a lot of pushback. It's -7. This is his down back 3. Does a lot of damage on its own. It does about 19% if you just amplify it, and it's going to make any combo you do a lot of damage. So it seems like it's going to be a really useful special move, and it also restands and leaves you at +4 or 5, one of the two, after you use it. So that's going to be a really, really good combo ender that you're going to want to use for the most part, is his down back 3. He also has this down back 4 move, which you can use in the air. It's like a little bit of a dive kick, but I don't really know how useful that's going to be, because when I was testing it, it seemed like no matter where I used it, if the opponent were to block, it's always punishable, like -17, -14, something like that. So from when I was testing it, it seemed like it was always going to be negative and punishable. So I'm not too sure how useful that move is going to be, but a lot of his other special moves that are exclusive to this variation are definitely going to be really useful. I found that the other ones all are going to have a good use. His back forward 4, by the way, it's -4 on block, so it is safe, and it has a crushing blow attached to it, which we can go over a little bit later. Alright, so let's take a look at his throw crushing blow. So his forward throw crushing blow only crushing blows if the opponent has you in the corner, but I'm just going to have easy crushing blows on so we can just take a look quickly. So you'll see he does 19%, but it leaves the opponent re-stood, and you can actually get a full combo afterwards. So here's what it kind of looks like. You'll see that I do the throw crushing blow, and that actually follows up that combos. You can get a full combo if you do something like this. As you can see, look at this. And he gets a solid 45% off of a throw. Now you have to be in the corner for it to work. I have easy crushing blows on, but that's just a quick example. 45%, 1 bar off of that throw crushing blow. So he can get some really good damage when it comes to some of his crushing blows. This is his 1-1-2 crushing blow, which happens on on punish or counter. I think we can take a look at it here, but we have to make the AI not block, and we have easy crushing blows on, so there you go. It does just under 300 damage, so 30% for that. Even the last hit, if it hits on its own, if it's a punish or a counter, it should still work. His 2-4 up 3-2 string, that's also a crushing blow, only if the third hit connects, and you'll see that he can actually glide out of it and get a full combo, something like this. So once again, loss of damage, solid 28%, and by no means is that optimal, so I'm sure he can get even more damage for it. He also gets a crushing blow off of his down back 1. He gets one off of his down back 1 if it parries a low attack. So we're gonna have the AI hit me with a low, and you'll see that if he does that, bam, 25% crushing blow. So he has some really, really useful crushing blows, as you can see. I think they're all gonna be really useful. It does his parry only parries lows, by the way, nothing else. So make note of that. And I believe the last crushing blow we're gonna look at is off of his back forward 2, which works if he absorbs a projectile and then attacks his opponent. So the back forward 2 can actually absorb a projectile and then go in and launch the opponent for a full combo. So as you can see here, I absorbed that. Now he's launched. It does 16% base, but then you can obviously get a juggle, you can get a full combo. This is not optimal, but you can see easy 37% for 1 bar using that crushing blow. So now let's take a look at his second variation, now that we've covered basically the first. And we'll see that in the second variation, none of his strings or anything like that are different. It's only going to be different special moves. So he still has the same back forward 2, which he already had in the first variation. But now he also has like his back forward 1, which is different. It's a projectile like that, where it does a high and then you amplify it, and then it's a mid. He has this gliding special move where if he's in the air you can press down back 2 and he can do this glide. It could be really useful for getting over a projectile of some sort. He has this back forward 3, which is actually super useful, and this is going to be really good when it comes to just getting combos and getting big damage. His second variation is going to be the quote-unquote combo variation. So you can see there, +4 restand, or you could spend like 2 bars and you could get like 38% and still get the restand. So you can get some really good damage off of his back forward 3 special move. Here's a look at his fatal blow, just taking a look at the range that he has on it. As you can see, here's a look at what it looks like. And if you haven't noticed already, Spawn has green blood. Very cool. 32% base when you don't include any of those like mini game stuff. And here's a look at what it can look like in a combo. I believe this is pretty good damage. Obviously, I'm not going to say anything I'm doing here is optimal because I was just kind of fiddling around, but you can get 49%, which is pretty good. Now we can take a look at his last and final variation, variation 3. Alright, so in variation 3, once again, a couple different special moves. He still has the back forward 1, but now he has a command grab off of his back forward 2, which is this chain. It's a high command grab, so we can set the opponent to duck just to make sure that it's actually a high. As you can see, bam, that's a high. So he can go invisible off of it. He can amplify it, and he can hold it, become invisible, and if he does it again, it's going to crushing blow, which is really interesting. You don't have to be invisible. You can spend the bar just to amp, and yeah, you'll use the defensive bar to go invisible, offensive bar to amp, and you get that crushing blow off of it. He gets his back forward 3 that he has in variation 1 back from this, and as you can see, down 1 into that is going to be pretty useful. On block, you can catch someone trying to poke back, I think. He also gets this different string special move, which is down back 3, but from when I was testing it, I couldn't really see much of a use for it because it's also safe on block, but it behaves the same way as his back forward 3, and I was trying to launch in the corner and see if I could get a corner combo, but I wasn't able to, so I couldn't really find much of a use for his down back 3 special move outside of just using it on block, but he can also do that with his back forward 3. He also has down back 4, which is a stance special move, and he has a couple different options once he goes into the stance. He can do down back 4-4, and it'll hit the opponent upward. He can cancel it as well. I'm not sure about any of like if he's plus or anything off of strings into that, so that's something that you'd have to test more. If he is plus and stuff off of it, then it can be super useful if you can get those kind of plus frames. But yeah, that can make your opponent rise up. When I was testing it, I couldn't get a full combo, but if you checked out the trailer, you could see that he could use it as an anti-air and actually still combo off of it, but it seems to me like if they're grounded, you can't really get a combo off of it. I was trying in the corner and I tried mid-screen and I couldn't really get anything going there, so that would require a little bit more testing. He also has a low option off of that stance, as you can see there, and you can actually amplify it as well, and you can get some extra damage, and you could use this in a combo like this, for example. That's just a quick thing I came together with. So that's going to be Spawn as far as we know it. This is just a look at some of his costumes as we talk about the experience of Spawn. It was pretty good. I did enjoy a lot of what I got to figure out about the character. I hope you guys learned something as well. If you want to take a look at all these other stuff, I do have a video with his different skins and intros, outros, his other fatality, brutality, and even his character ending. So make sure you guys check that out as well. But anyways, thank you so much once again to Warner Brothers for letting me get some early access content for Spawn. And thank you everyone for checking out this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know what you guys think of Spawn. And if you guys are excited for him like I am. Later, guys.